everyone, and welcome to JCPS Digital Learning Live. I'm Elaine Abenatha, a digital innovation leader here in JCPS. I am joined today by my teammate, Bev Compton. She's a digital innovation communication leader here in JCPS. And we are also joined today by two wonderful ladies who work with our federal and state programs and the gifted and talented. We have Dr. Staci Eddleman. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, good afternoon.
And we also have Labron Horton. How are you doing?
Good. Hello.
She's the program coordinator, and Dr. Eddleman is the director of federal and state programs, as well as for gifted and talented. So today, the ladies are going to talk to us about these programs we have in JCPS, and I'm excited to learn from you. While you're watching the show live, if you will, go ahead and make sure you talk in the chat if you have any questions. If you don't see that chat capability, go ahead and make sure that you are logged in. And while you're there, click that subscribe button so you too can continue to learn with us here at JCPS Digital Learning. So Dr. Eddleman and Ms. Horton, if you will, go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you. We're excited to be here today and to share information about the great work we have going on in the field of gifted education in Jefferson County. We are going to engage in a question and answer for you all today because as we've been embarking on this work, we have gotten a lot of questions and we've uncovered a lot of misconceptions about gifted education. And so we want to try to clear some of that up and provide more understanding about what gifted education really is and how things are moving in Jefferson County. So first, Labron, I get this question a lot. Are all children somehow considered gifted?
Well, according to the state regulations, there is a definition for gifted students, and those are students who possess high exceptionality levels in the areas of general intellectual aptitude, specific academic aptitude, in visual and performing arts, creativity, and leadership skills. So those are students who perform really high exceptionally in those areas who are actually identified as gifted.
Okay, so while every child has things that are special about them, gifted is really a specific term referring to specific things, and it is dictated by state statute.
Correct.
Okay, so are test scores the only way that a student can qualify as gifted?
Test scores are one way that students can be identified in the area of general intellectual ability or specific academic aptitude. But we also want to have a balanced approach to identification using multiple criteria to identify students. So a test score could be one way to identify a student, but there are also other approaches and looking at multiple assessments and different ways to identify students for all the 5 areas.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a question that we get asked a lot. What is the difference between gifted education and the JCPS advanced program?
Okay, so gifted education refers to the services that a student must receive once they are identified formally as gifted in one of the 5 areas that we mentioned earlier. But the advanced program is for students demonstrating potential for accelerated academic work. So the advanced program could be a service delivery model for a gifted student that has been identified academically, but it would not address the areas of creativity, leadership, visual and performing arts. The student could be gifted in those areas, but may not be an advanced program student. So the advanced program focuses on students who show academic potential and have advanced coursework.
Okay, so being identified as gifted, that's about the identification of the student. An advanced program is about the types of services they might get if they show a specific type of giftedness.
Correct.
Okay. So our next question, are students only identified for gifted services in the elementary grades?
No, students are formally identified in grades 4 through 12. And once they are identified, they should receive the appropriate services at all grade levels. For our students that are in kindergarten through 3rd grade, there are informal measures to identify students for what we call the primary talent pool. And those students show potential to learn at high levels and demonstrate an ability to learn at high levels. So they are challenged in their primary years, but you are not formally identified until you are in 4th through 12th grade.
Okay, so a student could be identified in any grade, though?
At any grade.
Once starting in 4th grade?
Correct.
Okay. Does a student have to be formally identified as gifted to receive accelerated learning opportunities?
No. Accelerated opportunities are best practices, and all students who are capable should have access to accelerated opportunities. That could include differentiation in the classroom, enrollment in honors or advanced classes. It could be independent study or special elective courses. And that could be part of a school's MTSS plan for students who need enrichment for them to get accelerated learning opportunities.
Right. So you mentioned the MTSS plans. We've been talking a lot about accelerated learning for students in the context of MTSS. So that is, while that's different from being identified as gifted and receiving gifted services, both could be addressed as part of the MTSS plan.
Correct.
But you don't have to be formally identified as gifted for a teacher to see some promise or for a student to be able to move more quickly through material in certain areas. And students should always get those kinds of opportunities despite identification. Okay.
Yes.
So next question, are teachers of gifted students required to have a special endorsement to be able to teach students who have been identified?
Okay. Teachers who work with students who have been identified as gifted should have training. The district does provide training for those teachers yearly. They should be participating in professional development around gifted services or differentiation. But if a teacher works more than half or at least half of the day with a self-contained group of students who have been identified as gifted, then that teacher would need to have a gifted endorsement. But regular certified teacher could work with gifted students, but we do want them to get training in the best practices for working with those students.
Definitely. Another question that we hear pretty frequently and that we want to be sure to address as we expand our work in this area, can students with disabilities be identified as gifted?
Yes. Some students have learning disabilities, but they also have an area of giftedness that they can be identified in. And we want to focus on those students' strengths because they could have a gifted area and have a disability in a different area. And we don't want to overlook those students. So yes, students, and we call those twice exceptional. They learn at an exceptionally high level or have a demonstrated ability in one area and may have a disability in another area.
So it's going to be critical to raise awareness about this possibility so that teachers and counselors and school personnel are looking for those special abilities that students who also have a disability may possess.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can students ever be exited from gifted status?
No, they may not. Once a student is identified as gifted, they remain gifted until they graduate from high school. Okay. So once they're identified, those services continue until they graduate from the school system.
Okay. So we have a lot of new work that we are starting and expanding in the district this year. We are working with representatives from every school to be able to identify all of the students in our schools that could qualify as gifted in one of the 5 areas. And again, as Labron mentioned earlier, those 5 areas of giftedness are general intellectual ability, specific academic aptitude, and that could be for English, math, science, or social studies, visual and performing arts, leadership, and creativity or creative thinking. And so we're very excited about the opportunity to have more of our students identified and work with schools to be able to provide services for those students. So Labron, if someone has questions about gifted services, about identification, and even about the advanced program, what should they do?
Okay. Each school should have a gifted lead, but if your gifted lead can't answer those questions, give us a call here at our office at 485-7424, or you can email us your questions at askadvancedprogram@jefferson.kyschools.us.
All right. So have any questions come in for us that we can answer?
We actually don't, but we had a lot of people that that joined us. We had 15 people that were watching us, and they didn't happen to drop in their name and introduce who they were, but I'm very thankful that they were able to join us live today. So I'm glad. You actually have shared a lot of information that I did not know personally. Even as a parent here with the students in JCPS. So I'm thankful that we have this for us to reference and have that power of pause for. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us, as well as you ladies for coming on the show. If you would like to stay connected to JCPS digital learning work, you can receive on-demand video support by subscribing to this channel, jcpsdigitallearning.com, on YouTube. And all you have to do is click the subscribe button. If it's red, that means that you still need to click that button. And you can also follow us and contribute on Twitter with the hashtags JCPS Backpack, hashtag We Are JCPS, and hashtag Power of Pause. So I appreciate you ladies again for coming onto the show and informing us of this wonderful program we have across the board for JCPS students. And till next time, see you guys later.
Bye. Thank you.